Hey everybody, so yes, this is a what sold video, but I had to take a second real quick to show off this jacket. I'm going to do this. So here's the story. I went thrifting today because I had to go grocery shopping, and of course that's what you do when you go grocery shopping, is you go to the thrift store as well. And I ran into a friend and fellow reseller there, and she told me I needed to wear this in my next video, so here we go. This is for her. And anyway, we were talking and she looked over my shoulder and she saw probably the horse or something on it and said, "Hey, that looks like something you would sell." So anyway, here, look at the back. Oh, hope you can see it. Anyway, I think it's awesome. There's not really a whole lot of comps for this, but I think its sheer Western awesomeness should probably sell it. This whole thing is actually removable, the fringe shawl part. So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, it doesn't fit me at all, but I just thought I would share. She also came to me later, gave me this dog sweater, which I thought was kind of vintage fabulous. Another dog on the back. The brand on that one is Eagle's Eye. I haven't looked that one up yet. But anyway, I'll just get this prepped for listing in the fall. So anyway, like I said, I just wanted to share those two things I found. We're going to go ahead and go over to my computer and talk about what sold in the past week. Okay, so here we are on the computer taking a look at our what solds. These are, if I haven't said it already, it is what sold in our online shops from the week of May 21st through the 27th. And we're starting out with a good old Montana type find. The brand was Montana Woolen Shop. So just a vintage kind of Sherpa lined vest that we found. Here's the tag, out of Bozeman, Montana. And that Western style vest went for $30. I think we sent an offer and then we got a counter, which we accepted. Kind of an out of season piece, but definitely, I don't know. Western is kind of doing pretty good right now. So I have a bunch of Western stuff that I've collected and I am really behind in getting it listed. So while the interest in Western things is high, I really should get them listed. So that'll be my goal for this next week. So maybe you'll see some more cowboy shirts and Western style shirts showing up in my what solds. Next one was just a pair of shorts by Athleta, whatever, however you say it. And they were a little bit older. We went ahead, we put as is, and it's a lower price. The button, I think, on the back of the pocket, one of the pockets was missing. So we sold that one for, that might have been, yeah, the full price, $14.99. So actually, I was going to say our sales were not so bad on eBay. They were starting to feel like a little bit normal. And one thing I did was I went ahead and put my coupon back on. And so who knew? That's all it took to kind of wake up your eBay shop, is to run a coupon. So it hadn't started yet. This is the last one that was without a coupon. But this might look familiar. We sold this shirt a couple weeks ago. The brand is Untuck It, and I had picked up this shirt originally because it was 3XL and a tall, and you know, otherwise it's just a plain white button shirt, and I didn't have any experience just doing a plain white shirt from Untuck It, but I figured the larger size might help. So the first person bought it and it didn't fit, and so he sent it back. So this came back, and I think we sent out an offer for $24, and that's what it sold for. So then I decided to try the coupon again, and I ran a 15% coupon, And so I sold another one of these wallets. This one didn't have the original box, and I just went ahead and put this, all the other wallets I had found by this brand, Allet. They're known for being very slim, very minimalist. And this one was actually leather. I have two of these, and so I sold this one with a coupon for 15% off, so like $4. So like $21 is what this one sold for. Then I sold this pair of Tevas, strappy sport sandals. They were a size 7.5, and they also sold with the coupon, so they were originally $30, but there was about $4.50 that got taken off because of the coupon. So as soon as I did the coupon, I feel like I started getting sales like fairly quickly. So that's just something to keep in mind. And I'm doing 15%. Way back, I used to mostly just do a 10%. I do a 15%, and then if I send out offers to somebody, I have to make sure my offer is more than 15%. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. And so I usually send like a 20% offer if I'm going to do that. This pair of Crocs had been sitting for a little while, and they sold with that offer. Maybe it was an offer we sent. So $22, since it's showing up that way in my records. I don't think they used the coupon, so it must have been an offer that happened. So $22 for those Crocs. And then this was a nice sale, a Patagonia. It's an organic cotton. But I just really like the colors on that plaid. And we had it listed for $49.99, but they were able to use the coupon and get $7.50 off of that. So about $41.42. And below, a lot of books that my kids were done with, and we listed those. It's $18.99 minus the 15% that they used with the coupon, which was almost $3. Fleetwood Mac, so it's not a vintage concert tee, or I don't even know if you'd call it a concert tee. Let's see the tag. Yeah, maybe it was. Okay. So anyway, it was the world tour was 2014, 2015. And I think my husband picked this up at the bins, our little bin store that we have in town here. And that sold for $25. So not the $40 that's showing there. Then I sold one of my rain spooners. This was one of the ones from my Hawaiian shirt haul that I've talked about several times. And it was listed at $60, and so they got $9 off. And it had a really cool pattern, and it still had one of its original tags on it, so I thought that was really cool. So it was just a very San Francisco style all over print on that one. Rain spooner. Then we sold a hard hat. I picked this up at the thrift store a little while ago, and it didn't sell for $80. We went ahead and took an offer for $55. Now, hard hats is definitely something you need to kind of keep an eye out for, especially if they're vintage looking, not just, there might be some that the plastic kind of normal hard plastic ones sell, but I had noticed this one because it was aluminum. It's like for mining. And we have sold, I meant to get this number ahead of time, but we did sell a hard hat one time. Let's see, let me find my old one. Okay. Here, I think this one was it. We sold a hard hat. Nope, that's not it. Oh, man. Here it is. It kind of looked like that one. Different brand. And it sold for $325. So certain hard hats, you really need to, a lot of times there's information printed right on the inside of the hard hat. And like this one, see, it just says what it is. McDonald Tea Hat Standard, Mine Safety Appliances Company. All right, so there's information on the inside of the hard hats that you can look up. And then we sold this Ironman Triathlon snapback hat, and that did not go for the full price. It was $20, just an offer, probably an offer back and forth. One we sent and one that got countered. And then I sold this knitting needle set by Burnett. Anyway, so this is just a piece of foam that's like inside to keep the two sets of knitting needles from rubbing against each other. But anyway, it looked more like this. So I had found this at the thrift store. It was like $6. I opened it. All the needles were in there. And I just thought it was worth picking up to sell. And that sold for the $35 minus the 15%. So it sold for about $30. Fun and easy. And then this set of espresso cups. Now, I found these at Goodwill not that long ago. They actually sold pretty quickly. I'm trying to find. So the mark was like this. Kind of hard to read. So there was one that was a little bit easier. So I just looked up Point Italy like espresso cups, because these are just really little. They're just that thick ceramic, and they're small like espresso. And very drippy, kind of thick glazed. And I found a couple comps, so I went ahead and got the set. And they sold for the $50 minus the 15%, which was $7.50. So a lot of our, the last few things I've been showing on eBay, actually we haven't even shipped yet. Today's a holiday. We were gone all weekend. And we're back now. So I am kind of tired. Tired today. It was a long weekend and just kind of tiring. But we are back, and I've got so much to work on and so much to do. In the next couple of weeks, we have another trip coming up. So anyway, I am going to spend this evening doing some shipping. So anyway, last sale for the week was this pelagic sun fishing shirt, and that one I think we sold for so $20 minus the $3. They just used the coupon, so it was like $17 for this sun shirt. You know, it's just kind of to block the sun. Pelagic, I guess, can be a good fishing brand. In, you know, this, there wasn't much to this. It's just basically a long sleeve t-shirt, but the brand, and maybe you can keep an eye out for it and some other more substantial pieces. Okay, next one is Poshmark. So Knox Rose, I only pick these up. I've kind of followed, you know, I watched Kaylee Lane and some of her clothing items that she picks up. And actually the Knox Rose pieces that I've picked up have sold fairly quickly. As long as I stick with like this prairie style dress in a size, in larger sizes. And so that's really the only kind I pick up, especially if I can get them on the cheaper side, because they usually only sell for me between like $18 and like $22. So, anyway, this one went fairly quickly, so I can't argue with that. Not huge money, but a consistent seller. Like I said, if you kind of stick with that prairie flowy kind of look and larger sizes, has done well. There could be other Knox Rose pieces. They just sell Knox Rose at Target. There could be other pieces that do fine, but these are just the ones I've experimented with in this, you know, spring and summer. Aftco is another fishing company, fishing clothing company, and I have done okay with some of their more substantial pieces, some jackets and vests and things. I went ahead and picked this shirt up. It took a little while to sell, and I got a $15 offer. I just went ahead and took that. Saltwater, I kind of knew about these shoes more often for little girls, saltwater sandals, and I just decided, I saw these you know, they're women's size sandals. I figure, well, I'm sure there's a woman who wants these. And I picked them up a while ago, and they've just kind of been on my to be listed shelf because I was waiting for the right season. You know, I'm not too concerned about listing things out of season. It's just that I always have so much to list that it makes more sense to focus on the current season and try to get caught up on those items that I have. And then, you know, if I was completely out of that, then I would start listing winter stuff. But I'm just kind of holding off as I'm finding sweaters and jackets and things like that. I'm just kind of holding onto them until the end of summer, and then I'll start focusing more on those. But while I've still got some summer sandals and things like that laying around here, I need to get them listed because there's a better likelihood that they're going to sell now. Not that they wouldn't sell later. Does that make sense? Okay. Next one. This was one of my best sales, I think, for the week. I got this at a yard sale. I've only been to a few yard sales so far this summer. And I went to this one. It had a lot of clothing. And there was like a bunch of dresses, and a lot of them were just this very login look, cottage core, very loose, you know, 90s, 80s, 90s style dresses and things. A lot of linen, and you could kind of tell that that was like the vibe that the woman had been in, you know, several years ago. So this was one of the dresses hanging there, and it was like a no-brainer. It was only $3. The dresses were about $3. And I do have another one I sold, but it sold like Sunday, so that'll be in next week's video. And that one's just more of just a general boho kind of style. But this one was made out of feed sacks, and it, you know, it wasn't like a 40s dress. It was not like 40s feed sacks or 30s, but this was like 80s, 90s, and just very country, very cottagecore, kind of quirky. I love the pig. You know, the pig was on the feed sack, so that's kind of front and center right there. Just straight quality feed. So that sold on Poshmark for $70. Next was a Travis Matthew golf polo shirt, sold for $18. And a Jerry Garcia necktie, also sold on Poshmark. It was new with tags. It had never been worn. This is a brand necktie that used to do, you know, it did a lot better back in the day when neckties sold a little bit better. And sometimes people would just buy, you know, they would sell Jerry Garcia. They would sell the neckties like in lots. And they were fairly collectible. They all have like a collection name or a name to the tie. And so anyway, the only reason here it is Nature Mort Collection 61. So I just had picked it up at the thrift store just because it was new with tags. But it had been listed a while, and so I took the $16 offer on Poshmark. Next was another good sale. This, I think my husband found, picked it up. It's Vineyard Vines. It's a pullover. It's new with tags, but it's also branded for the Seattle Seahawks. We had it listed a little bit higher, but we got the $60 offer and went ahead and took that for sure. So that was a good sale. And then again, this was interesting. I picked these up at Goodwill. I almost kind of regretted it after I picked them up. I was having a hard time comping them in the store. They were about $1 a piece, so it wasn't a big deal. But I was like, oh, these are just going to sit forever, and they're just going to take up space. And I was looking at eBay comps when I got home, and I was like, well, maybe they're not as good as I thought they'd be. Port Marion can be good. These do have like a newer, you know, these aren't vintage or anything like that. They have the newer mark on the bottom. Pomona can be a fairly good pattern by them. But all four of the mugs were the same. They had blackberries on them. And actually, I was just surprised that they sold on Poshmark before they sold on eBay. So these sold for $36 for the set of 4. And it's easy to ship this kind of thing. Like the buyer is only going to be paying, you know, the $7, $8 for shipping, and we can just use a bigger priority box and good to go. My husband loves it when stuff like this sells on Poshmark. Okay, so my other little sites, not a whole lot happening there. These Monet earrings sold. I'm thinking, so there's a sale running right now on Poshmark, and you know, I kind of expected maybe a few more things to sell, but I think for the weekend I had like 3 sales of items that were included in the 25% sale. The sale ends in the morning, so there's still a possibility of something coming through, but I'm just checking real quick the sale price. Yeah, these sold for $12. So they're just a cluster faux pearls by Monet. And then the other thing that sold in the sale, also $12, were just these little tiny dishes by Lennox. And little trinket dish kind of thing. Glad to see those go. And then over on Etsy, this was in my husband's shop. We always pick these up, these little enamel. People call them all sorts of different things. It can be a Turkish coffee pot. It could be a butter warmer. You know, it could be a ladle. You can heat up something over a stove. And they come in different sizes. And we, you know, doesn't matter what size we pick them up. So this orange one sold for $22. And then patterns. So I have a couple more that's patterns I have to ship out from this weekend. They'll be in next week's video. This is a Vogue pattern. It was a little bit of a larger size, which was good, 18, 20, 22. And it's sold for $15. So it's kind of an example like I showed you in the sewing pattern video of just kind of a bread and butter, but like good. I'm totally happy with a $15 pattern sale. And Vogue, this kind of era or this style of Vogue can get you $15 to $20 pretty easily. So anyway, and those are very pretty dresses. And then the other pattern that sold was this vintage little girls, size 4, pinafore, and dress. And I didn't talk a whole lot about kids patterns in that video mostly because I don't sell a ton of them. It's really hard to find any patterns that are kids patterns that are worth good money. A lot of them are worth less than $10. And so if I end up with a bunch of kids patterns, a lot of times I will just lot them up and let, you know, someone else who specializes or who collects just deal with them. Now, $12 is a good price for this. It was listed for quite a long time. And anyway, so it just needed the right buyer. So I ended here on my pattern sales, and that should be the next video that should come out later this week. Is if you saw the first pattern video, you know, we talked a little bit more nuts and bolts of a pattern itself and what's involved and what to look for when you're about to list one. And so this week I wanted to talk about some of my best pattern sales I've had, some of the best types of patterns, like what bolos are there on eBay that we can research right now, and then also, you know, what does that teach you about the types of patterns to definitely look for. So that's what is up. And actually it just shows you the potential that sewing patterns can have for adding to your reselling repertoire. Okay, so I'm going to get going. Like I said, I'm still kind of wiped out from the weekend, and I just wanted to get, you know, show you those sales from the past week. Considering I was gone for, let's see, we left like Thursday, you know, I only had a couple days to really do any good kind of listing since the last What Sold video. You know, it wasn't a bad week, so I was grateful for all those sales that came through. So I hope you guys are doing good, and I hope you had a successful reselling week. As usual, feel free, please, to leave me a comment down below. I always enjoy. Several of you do that regularly, where you share the things that you've sold in the past week, so that's always fun to look at. Any questions, go ahead, leave me a comment as well, and we will talk to you later on in the week.